Hey everybody, welcome back to Wicked Good Sports. I'm your host Brian Marr, and we're back on this makeshift solo stage with ironically a worse background but a better microphone to talk a little bit about an NFL story. That's right, we're finally getting back to when NFL stories are becoming more relevant. So I would like to talk a little bit about a quarterback competition, and this story is coming from Ben Volen over at the Boston Globe. According to Ben Volen's new article, which focuses on quarterback competitions headed into next season, there's some interesting information coming out of New Orleans. This is from the article. Quote, from what I've heard from league sources, I'm not sure it's going to truly be an open competition. Hill is such a unique dual threat that he's worth trying out as the starting QB to start the season, and if that experiment fails, Peyton can fall back on Winston. So it's no secret that last time we saw Jameis Winston start a full season, he didn't look great. He certainly had good moments. He passed for over 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns, but he also threw over 30 interceptions, a feat that many people have probably unkindly referred to as the very first 30-4-30 season. Taysom, on the other hand, went 3-1 in his 4 starts last season while filling in for the injured Drew Brees. Over the course of last season, he threw for 928 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, while adding 457 yards on the ground along with 8 touchdowns. But just looking at those stats, you'd say, hey, this guy's pretty good. Maybe it's the right call to give him the keys, as it were, but I think it would be foolish to say that he dominated or even that the Saints offense looked good with him at the helm. We certainly became accustomed to the Saints looking like world beaters on offense during the Drew Brees era. Even when their defenses were bad and holding them back, he elevated the play and really made them oftentimes contenders just based on his talent alone. But that's not what the Saints looked like with Hill at the helm. It was more of I wouldn't even say it was a ground attack because Alvin Kamara didn't look great with him there. But it was really like everything was going through Hill, and Hill was the focal point of the offense. And you got to remember, one of those wins was against a Denver Broncos team that was starting a practice squad wide receiver at quarterback. So the 3-1 record is a little deceiving. And to add to all this, at the end of the playoffs last season, when Drew Brees was, he knew that this was it. This was the end of the road for him. He was on the sidelines speaking to Jamies Winston saying, hey, this is your team now. So I think many people expected Jameis Winston to start the season, or certainly to at least compete in training camp to have the opportunity to start the season as the starting quarterback. Sean Payton is obsessed with Taysom Hill. I personally do not get it. I think he's a better version of Tim Tebow, but the biggest thing about that is Tim Tebow was a really, bad quarterback, and I think Taysom Hill is a very fun player. He does a lot of interesting things when he has the ball in his hand, but he's not the type of player who can go out there and lead a team to the playoffs. And even if they were to get to the playoffs, I don't see them going far with Taysom Hill as the starter. Whereas Jameis Winston, the man got LASIK eye surgery. Maybe that was why he threw so many interceptions. But there's a reason he was a number 1 pick coming out of college, and it's because he has all the talent in the world. And quite frankly, I was looking forward to him being the starter in Sean Payton's offense because Sean Payton took Drew Brees, who was a very decent starter, and put him over the top, made him a legend, one of the greatest all-time quarterbacks ever to play the game. Am I saying that would happen to Jameis Winston? No, but I'm saying the tools are there, and he also made Teddy Bridgewater, who I do feel is a decent quarterback, look really great in his 5 starts the previous season, filling in for Drew Brees. So to have them start with Taysom Hill seems a little suspect to me, and I just don't see why he feels the need to do this. Maybe I'll eat my words. Maybe Taysom Hill spent all offseason practicing and becoming a better quarterback, but I don't think that's the case. I mean, I don't think that'll end up being the case. I think he'll be similar to what we saw last season, a guy who kind of drags the offensive potential down, especially Alvin Kamara. Yes, they'll have Michael Thomas back, who's a huge part and who did look decent with Hill when they were playing together, but all in all, I just don't see this necessarily being a success, and I do expect Jameis Winston to get a start sooner rather than later. But those are just my opinions. I would love to hear what you all think about Taysom Hill supposedly getting the keys to the New Orleans offense right off the bat. No camp competition happened. And maybe you don't believe Jameis Winston would have won the competition, but I think you can at least agree that it would have been in everyone's best interest to give him an opportunity to show what he's got going into the season. We'll see what happens. Love to hear what you think, and you can follow the channel on Twitter at WickedGoodSport or at WG Everything, on Instagram at WickedGoodEverything, on Twitch at twitch.tv/WickedGoodEverything. We're also on TikTok, search Wicked Good Everything. Stay here with the channel. We're going to be covering everything from the Olympics, especially the women's soccer team, not the men's soccer team. They didn't make it. So what can you do, guys? Maybe step it up next time, as well as the expansion draft for the Seattle Kraken in the NHL, and covering who wins the NBA Finals, all coming up this week. Can't wait to talk about it. Very excited, and thank you so much for listening.